And Phil.
We have started.
So, hi everybody. This is the Phil and Phil show. And tonight we are winging it. We're totally unprepared. The subject is, Phil?
Love.
Subject is love. So yeah, so there's all this fear out there, and actually we need to remember that love and reconnect. So I'm Phil, and this is...
I'm Phil.
Phil. So this is the Phil and Phil show.
Oh my goodness. That's quite creative.
So what you burning there, Phil?
I got some cedar.
Cedar. Oh wow.
Smells really good.
So where does that cedar come from, Phil?
Sedona, I think, this specific one. So it's got some good sacred energy in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
So totally, like your people are in fear right now, and it's scary. There's a lot of changes going on. So the way to tackle it is not more fear and more running away, and like we're seeing that, like people are like, oh my god, and then this, and then the vaccine's coming, or you got to hide and you got to wear a mask. It's like, well, how do we come into love, Phil? What do we need to do? How do we stay in love right now when there's all of these challenges? It's probably one of the greatest challenges of our lives. Such an opportunity.
I think for our generation, Phil, this is the greatest. And I think for our generation, for some of us that have spent a lot of time like me and you, actually really investigating and learning about stuff, this isn't a shock. For me, I've been quietly waiting for around 15 or 20 years for something like this, not this to happen, but inwardly I'm quite prepared for this.
Right.
When I was doing lots of shamanic work, and I used to get when I was journeying in the shamanic world, I used to get lots of visions of real chaos and carnage and Armageddon, and when I first started journeying, and then towards the end, this is probably about 10 years ago, I got all this peace. And it's like, so we've done the work and we've changed the timeline. We don't have to do that now.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got this amazing growth opportunity. But actually now I'm interpreting what I was seeing as kind of like that Armageddon thing, where it's going to get tough. It's going to get scary. We're probably going to have, guys, I'm not trying to fearmonger here, by the way, just preparing us. According to the astrology, we're probably going to have another lockdown. The astrology was really interesting. So around the middle of July, I can't remember the astrology, guys. If anyone wants a link, I'll send it them. There's a guy called Steve Judd, did a really great forecast. So July the 12th, astrologically, we're going to get a big thing going on. And I think he said it was Mars coming in. So there's going to be, for those of us that are watching, there's going to be lots of frustration of why isn't this speeding up? Why aren't people waking up? Why don't people get this? Come on, guys. Because at the end of the day, it's down to our human consciousness, how long this difficult period lasts for. So then at the end of July, that's going to be easy. Have you heard this, Phil?
No, it's great. It's great.
I'll send you the link. At the end of this July period, then August, from the middle of August until the end of August, there's going to be another big astrological things happening, and it's going to be big. And then the final one, which is Jupiter squaring something else. Man, I can't remember. See, astrology. I've tried learning it for nearly 2 decades. Doesn't sink in. So Jupiter and another planet are going to align on the 12th or 13th of October.
Probably, right? Mars, maybe.
No, it's not Mars, because Mars is about war and it's all about fighting. So this is actually about the end of the financial system as we know it. So it's all about death, rebirth. See, I'm not prepared. I wasn't going to talk about this. Otherwise, I'd have got myself ginned up on it.
Well, that's why we don't prepare, because that's life, right? You don't get to prepare for this stuff.
Absolutely. So the 12th and 13th of October, these two planets square, and it's really interesting because it's about death and rebirth, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's the death of the old and the birth of the new. So, you know, we've got to hang on.
Mm-hmm.
But what I'm going to say is we really have to stay focused on what do we want the new world to look like.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
Because I think people are giving up and letting somebody else decide that.
Yeah. So, you know, what do we want? You know, I want abundance for everybody. I want clean air for everybody.
Crazy, Phil. I was in the bathroom thinking, okay, we're going to do the show. And I was just thinking that, like, what's our vision? That's so crazy.
Yeah.
You brought this exact topic up, and I was like, oh, like, people are like always like freaking out, but what's our vision? What do we want to, what's our vision for the world?
What, mine and yours, you mean? The show?
What should be, what do we want to see come about?
Yes. So to carry on with that then, and then he thinks we're going to get into quite a dark period as of November time. And then we're going to ride this out because of course, remember, we're ending. This is the end of control and the beginning of the golden age. So this is what I'm really holding on to now is, you know, yes, it might get a bit scary for some people. Yes, it's going to be really uncomfortable for most of us.
Mm-hmm.
Some are going to love it. Some are going to hate it.
Right.
But you know, it's like I used to say before, we've got to really hold on and let go, right? We've got to hold on to trust. We've got to hold on to ourselves. We've got to really hold on to our hearts and our brothers and our sisters and let go of the fear.
Right.
Yeah. We've got to hold on to
the dark forces are trying to get us into our heads and into our lizard brain, which is like that fear state. And like you're in there and you just go crazy. Like, and then like you're just constantly bringing it back to the heart space.
You know, there is a war at the moment. We are at war.
It's World War III right now.
And that's the war of delusion and separation.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I ask some of my friends questions, and I asked one the other day about, you know, are you pro or anti-Trump? I said, just out of interest on my text, are you pro or anti-Trump? And he's like, definitely anti. And I was like, okay, that's cool. So I'm not going to engage too far with that because I don't want to fall out with anybody, because the whole battle at the moment is to get us to fall out.
Yeah.
And actually, what we've got to do is we've got to forget our differences. You know, I've got an old mate of mine that I grew up with from playgroup, actually, and we're still mates. We connect on Facebook sometimes, and when he comes to the village, I see him occasionally. And we've got very different views, but what I have to remember is I've loved him for nearly 50 years. So I have to be really, and you know, I'm lucky I've got that, my brain and my consciousness works that way. It's like, oh, he's my brother. I've known it 47 years. I've known him for. We've not always got on. We've not always seen eye to eye, but who gives a shit, right? It's like that connection for me with him is way more important than any disagreement. I don't care really what he believes in. There's some things I would draw the line. There's some things I would draw the line and go, actually, do you know what? I can't do that. So harming. I think if people were purposefully, consciously harming other people, you know, on a conscious level,
right,
then I'd have to say, I'm really sorry, guys, but you know, I don't agree with this. I'm not on board. But if he's got a difference of opinion of mine, great. You know, this is what David Icke's all about, isn't it? And Brian Rose, I have a lot of respect for Brian Rose, because he's on about, let's give everyone a platform. Let's hear what they've got to say. And let's believe it or not. But for God's sake, just keep loving each other. You know, don't let this, I'm not going to swear, but this head banging situation, don't let it separate you from your friends and your loved ones.
Yeah.
You know,
we just got to penetrate through it.
And have differences of opinion, because that's great. Some of us love Trump. Some of us hate Trump. That's all cool. That's all right. I don't hate anybody, right? I don't hate Trump. I don't hate anybody. I might not agree with them, but if I hate man, that's a
Right.
disease within my body.
Yeah,
You know,
like Wayne Dyer says, like whatever comes out, whatever you say is within you. You know,
exactly.
whatever you, when you get squeezed, what that comes out is what's in you. You know, so.
You know, I've got a friend of mine that says, "Oh, they're showing their true colours," and what I've learned is they're not showing their true colours. They're showing an aspect of themselves.
Right.
And that aspect of themselves, if it isn't love, is fear.
Right.
So what we have to do, which is really difficult, is we have to really love and honour that fearful aspect.
It's beautiful. Yeah, it's. I had a little situation the other day. Like, so the battle right now that they want us to battle on is the mask, the anti-maskers versus the pro-maskers. And if you're a pro-masker, you care about people. If you're an anti-masker, you don't care about people. And somebody approached me about that, and it was a family member, and I was like, I didn't know how to deal with it. It's just like, and I just sent them love. I was just like, I love you, and I didn't even say I disagree or I agree. I was just like, I love you. I focus on health, and that's what I do, you know. So, but it was just tricky because it was like they were coming at me as like, and Susan's had it too. It's like, oh, you don't care about people because you're not doing this, and it's like, and then so it's like these people who actually love each other have been separated by a system, and realizing that that's a mass psychological system that's been imposed upon us by a group of elites, and it's not people who really care about health. It's not, you know, so.
It's actually people that don't know anything about health, because once you start, Phil, I was having a conversation with a mate of mine, right? I do construction work, as you know. A mate of mine works for a racing team, and he's an engineer. So we both have a bit of an understanding about masks. You know, we were talking about the FFP1s, FFP2s, and FFP3s, and what they did. And he's like, "Oh, I don't know what mine are." He said, I'll have a look." So he went in his cupboard and pulled out his mask, and sure enough, he had an FFP3, which is in the masks in our world, construction, engineering, they're normally what you need to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then he said something really interesting. He said, "Yeah, Phil, but when I've got this mask on, this top-notch mask, and my mate farts, I still smell it." And I said, "That's a really good point. So if you can smell a fart through your face mask, is that going to stop a virus? I don't think so. Because something I learned from a documentary is, oh, get this right, if you can smell a fart, that's actually because poo particles have gone up your nose."
That's lovely,
How,
Phil. Thanks for sharing.
right, but how grim is that?
It is,
So
yeah.
if you're
Well,
FFP3,
I'm worried. Like I have this little mask that has a little carbon filter on that occasionally ride when I'm biking because, you know, I'm riding in the traffic, but somebody pulls past me in a big diesel truck, I still smell it. Like it's still getting through, you know, it's like,
yeah.
yeah, maybe it
So
reduces it a little bit, but.
if you're getting diesel fumes through your mask, which are massive compared to a virus,
Mm-hmm.
how the bloody hell is it stopping it?
Right.
And you know, the masks that I wear are designed to stop dangerous chemicals from woodworking and engineering and paint spraying.
Right.
But you can still taste stuff through it.
Right.
And that's not a silly little paper filter that you buy and throw away.
Mm-hmm.
You just have to sit down. I say you just have to sit down. You can only sit down and logically work through it if you've got a certain level of information. Now,
Right.
I've my whole building trade now, which is 34 years. When stuff first came out, the best I could do was tie a handkerchief over my nose and my mouth and hope that it would keep the dust out.
Right. And it doesn't.
No, it's crap, but it's better than nothing at all.
Right. Well, but that's what people are saying about masks. So let's flip onto their side, because we want to step into people's shoes. They're like, well, it's reducing the amount of moisture particles, the aerosol moisture particles that could hurt somebody else. What do you think about that?
Maybe, except those masks, like the masks that surgeons wear, when I was doing research on those a while ago, you know, before the whole virus thing came out, because I got given some from somewhere, and I was like, oh, if they're good enough for surgeons, they're good enough for me. And actually, with those masks, from the research that I did, was it's only to stop like spit and stuff coming out of the surgeon into the open cavity of the patient.
Mm-hmm.
They're not designed to stop the surgeon. I was really surprised about this.
Mm-hmm.
They're not designed to stop the surgeon getting anything.
Right.
It's to keep the patient safe. But again, they're designed so when you breathe in, stuff you don't get it all in. But when you breathe out, they're designed to let it out.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I went into someone's house a week or so ago with my builder's mask on, and of course I've got the proper vent each side of mine.
Right.
And I walked into a house with this vent on. She was happy as Larry because I had this mask on.
Mm-hmm.
But my mask has a vent underneath, especially to blow out my carbon dioxide.
And bacteria and whatever.
Bacteria, viruses, whatever's in me comes out through this little one-way valve. So on here I've got masks where my clean air comes in. Then I've got a little one-way valve here that when I blow the valve release and all my air comes out of my mask. Who's protected?
You are.
I am.
Yeah.
But I was in an elderly, I didn't realise this, but she was an elderly, and it turns out it was just to cut it short, it was a friend of mine's mother-in-law, or else I wouldn't have gone, right? I'm you know, I don't like doing that because of the whole fear factor. So I walked in with this mask on. She was happy. Larry, I had a mask on. She was happy. It only works psychologically.
Well, and I think that's the thing. We're giving people a false sense of security. So like, okay, wear this mask and you're going to be healthy. But we're not changing the habits. Like, isn't that like obvious to people? Like people's, you know, the mainstream and the people pushing this, they're not talking about the immune system. They're not talking about detoxification. They're not talking about the epidemics, pandemics of heart disease, cancer, COPD, asthma. Like those conditions are what's killing people.
Diabetes. I mean,
I think if they were talking about that, I might be like, okay, I'll wear a mask because obviously you've thought about the whole picture. But it's not. It's like this is something else.
Yeah, this is a whole. It just doesn't add up. So anyway, this going back to the astrology, this period of basically what we're going into is a collapse of an old society and the rebirth of a new society, and definitely a financial system.
Mm-hmm.
And we come out of the period at the end of 2021. So it's about 18 months.
Right.
And then we're into the golden age. So what we have to do, guys, is we're on a jet ski, we're on a bobsleigh, we're rallying, whatever your choice of things is, you've got to hang on, right? You've got to steer in that right direction. You've got to pray a lot. You've got to love your brothers and sisters because this is really important. Stop falling out with people over silly shit that you don't even believe. And when you sit down and have a beer or a coffee, or in mine and Phil's case, a juice or a chag of tea, right? That's where it's at. Forget the silly shit that you're arguing about because it doesn't even exist. It's not even real. It's just opinions that actually someone else has planted in your brain, whatever it is. You know, this is the thing. The only thing I care about is how you are. I don't give a shit about anything else, really.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know how you are, what makes you tick, what makes you happy, what makes you joyful, what makes you fearful, right? Share it with us. Come on, put the things down, share it with us. What's your joy? I don't give a shit what someone's opinion is. I really don't. Because there's I'm not, everyone's got an opinion. Some have got several. And I'm sure me and Phil have got plenty of opinions. But you know what? They don't matter.
It's like beliefs, opinions. Yeah.
I thought you said bullies, but you said beliefs.
Well, there's bullies too, but yeah.
That was fun. I think that was half American, half English then, Phil.
Probably.
So yeah, there's all of that going on, and it doesn't matter a toss.
Right. I think I've been working on that. Like I'm disagreeing with people, but it's like, can I disagree with somebody and then do it with like love and not judgment and go, okay, well, they got a different opinion, they got a different belief. Like, can I do it with total love? Because it's only gonna hurt me if I'm angry.
You know, and that's the thing I find myself doing. You know, rah, 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 rah. And it's like,
Is it getting
it's
you
fine.
anywhere? No.
No, just you know, wear your bloody mask if you want to. It's because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter to me whether you wear your mask or not.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? It doesn't matter what your opinion about masks are either. But if you've got an opinion, make sure you've researched, not just shoved the mask on your face and gone, I'm safe, so I can go into my granny's house, because you can't. You can't put a mask on, go into your granny's house, and her be safe. You can't do that. So you know, don't go in a false sense of security.
And if like I care about grandma, so what am I gonna do? I'm gonna make sure grandma gets organic food. I'm gonna look at her supplement program. I'm gonna make sure she gets sunlight. I'm gonna take her for a walk. I'm gonna give her a hug. Like that's caring about grandma.
Yeah, well, I was talking to someone today about and I just put someone said, "Is that a Zoom meeting for me, Phil?" I just put yes if you'd like to join. Sorry about that. Yes, if you'd like to join. I'm going to come back to you now. God, I've been ranting about that. Yes, I was just saying to a friend of mine, you know, I noticed her mum was jumping, she was sleeping in the chair and she was jumping and twitching. I'm like, if you gave her magnesium foot soaks every day and put like a mugful or a pint of Epsom salts or magnesium flakes, whatever you've got, in a bowl of water and gave her a foot soak every night for a week or a fortnight, what an amazing thing, what an amazing gift that is to give your mum or your granny or your next door neighbour or whatever it is that can't carry the bowl of water around, right? Carry a nice bowl of, put your elbow in the bowl of water, get it a nice temperature, and shove in Epsom salts, shove in magnesium flakes, but put enough in. In America, you've got cup measures. You've got, you know, I stick at least half a pint in, or a pint, and I'd have them sitting there for get them and then watching telly, or when they're sleeping, it doesn't matter. 20 minutes, half an hour, get them in the Epsom salts, because that will soothe the nervous system down. It will soothe the inflammation. It will soothe the pain.
Add some lavender.
Yeah, thanks, Phil. Yeah.
Maybe put a little oil diffuser on, you know?
Yeah.
Soothing music.
Yeah, you know, and viruses, let's put that oil diffuser on. Let's
get her an oil filter, an air filter in a room.
The friend that was just saying, what's it all about? She said, what's it all about, Phil? I'm out for a walk. And actually she's into essential oils, so she would have been perfect at this time to come on the show now, start talking about essential oils. But anyway, she's out for a walk, so she's not coming on. So yeah, get lavender in, a bit of tea tree. One of my favorites is lemon eucalyptus, or what's my other ones here? Or lemon, I don't know if you go, do you know lemon myrtle, Phil?
I know, I've heard of it, yeah. This is some frankincense I've got. So.
Yeah, lemon myrtle is kind of number one, Phil, antiviral, antibacterial, top of the tree. Put some of that. I mean, that's probably too strong to put in foot soak. Put some in a diffuser. Get a diffuser going in your house. Burn lemon myrtle, frankincense. You know, think about what the three wise men brought to Jesus, right? Gold, frankincense, and myrrh. So what does that tell us? You know, what's that?
You can eat frankincense too. I like to take a drop of frankincense and rub it on my gums. Somebody says they're commenting, but I don't see the comments. He said, "Can you see my brilliant comments?" I don't see his brilliant comments. Let's go look here.
So yeah, think about that. Gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Now, some people say that the gold was turmeric. I'm not sure if the gold was turmeric or not, because I reckon it was probably more likely to be gold, to be purified, potentized, alchemical gold. So I bet you it was actually gold. Because gold is absolutely potent. Actually, saying that, Phil, I've got a friend of mine in I probably haven't talked about this, in Holland, and he actually makes nano-size gold mineral water. So it's actually gold water, and he also does, I found a gold spray to spray the skin with, so you can absorb the nano gold through the skin into the body. How cool is that? And I think actually before this whole thing happened, he was trying to get into America, but I don't think they're there yet. But yeah, look at the powerful things like that you can do for yourself. You can get myrrh. Myrrh, actually, I don't know if you know this or not, Phil. Myrrh that's at least a year old is great for weight loss. You can I've got a bag full of it somewhere in here. You can suck on the myrrh resin. Myrrh's amazing stuff. I can't even think where mine is now. Oh look, I've been Phil, this here.
What's that?
That's myrrh 2012.
Oh, where'd you get that from?
Sorry? Where'd
you get that from?
So one of my suppliers that I've got in the UK. And it's from Kenya. It's actually from Kenya. And then from that,
I love that. Like one of our suppliers. Like these are our drugs, man.
And then this here, can you see how fine that is now, Phil?
That's myrrh powder?
Well, I've got a lot of work to do on it yet, but it's still.
Pass me that that frankincense resin I have there.
So yeah, that's processed to a point.
Bag of resin, where is that?
But what's amazing, Phil, with myrrh, even though you can put it in your mouth and suck it and it dissolves, I use a little old oh, there's some rubbish in there. I use a proper pestle and mortar. But to process it in that, it takes such man, it's unbelievable how long that takes to process it properly. So yeah, Phil, this is exciting now. What else can we do? Lemon.
It's a mix. I think it's copal, frankincense. I don't know if you can. Here, let me get some in my hand here. Yeah, can you see it? Oh, that's a good picture right there.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. That if we could have took a picture of that, that would have been great. I suppose you can take a picture of that. Yeah, that's perfect there, Phil. That would make a really good picture on our page.
And these resins are just so potent and just so beautiful. I don't really know what to do with them. I just like the crystalline energy. I don't really like burning them. I just like the crystalline energy around.
Suck it, Phil.
You really? You can suck that?
Yeah, just this is my old one. This is the myrrh that I've been really good, actually. Really good for teeth and gums. So you just get a little. Can you?
That's myrrh.
Yeah. See that just in there?
Is myrrh like resin like this too?
What have you got there, Phil?
I don't know.
Yeah. Is that frankincense? That's frankincense, isn't it?
Oh, it looks like it's got a little bit of a tinge to it. So
if you see that? It's like an orange color. So yeah, just pop it in. Same as pine resin. Pine's really good as an antiseptic, antiviral, antibacterial. Pine's really good. So they're kind of funky fun things, aren't they? But simple things. What simple things can we do? So simple things.
So what I want to do is, so like you say, we're gonna love everybody wherever we're at. But what we're dealing with right now, we've got 3 months of people being in fear. So we're in fear, we're being driven into the primitive brain through so much fear. And whether it's real or not, it doesn't really matter. We could argue about that forever, but it doesn't matter. The fact is that people have been locked up in their homes, we're scared of each other, with, with there's a lot of fear. So I think that's, to me, that's a really important thing to address, is how to break out of that fear and how to come into the heart, into love. Hi.
Hi.
You have a visitor here.
Yeah.
Hey, Susan.
Because you're talking about fear, I want to mention when I was talking to our friends yesterday, I'm in fear too, and on the other side, and I think we all have to be careful, even if we don't believe the narrative, that we don't get afraid of get into the fear wave ourselves and focus on different things.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think for all of us, yeah, even if we're empowered and like doing all these healthy things, coming into love and resonating that love at the highest vibration, wherever we're at, whatever we're doing. And what's it going to take to raise that vibration? I mean, I was, and I think you were too, I was exhausted yesterday. It's like, there's so much energy, so much going on. I felt really beat up. It's just like, it's stressful. The people at work are stressed out. Like, I'm just feeling this stress. I'm in a big city. There's people around me. Like, I see them walking down the street. I feel that fear. I see that fear. It's just like, it's everywhere. And it's just like, I'm just like, oh, okay, come back to the heart. And I feel it. I feel that connection when I get out of my head, out of that primate brain and come into the heart. It feels good. And it's like just continually coming back, but at the same time, it's still exhausting.
Yeah,
it's draining.
And I'm not saying I don't feel any fear. It's recognizing that feeling of, oh, I'm in fear. And do I need to be? And we've got to look at all this rationally.
Right.
We've got to look at it rationally, and I think it's wise to be cautious. Mm-hmm. And not just go, oh, it's all a narrative, and oh, it's not important, and la 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 la, because this has affected some people really deeply on, not just the physical level and dying, but
right.
The amount of people actually, I think, has probably affected gazillions more people mentally.
Yeah, I mean, I'm worried. I mean, we hear about increases in suicides and domestic violence. And people have lost their businesses, lost their jobs, and many people have been affected health-wise. So yeah, it's a huge wake-up call. It's huge.
It's massive, right? And it's not just the thing of, oh, I don't believe in it, so I'm all right. It's the thing of recognizing what's going on, recognizing that actually we can so easily fall out of love with each other over something that actually the reality is very few of us know the truth of it. Very few of us know anything about it at all. Right. So we're arguing over someone else's narrative that's telling us something that actually we have no clue about. So, and that feel for me is a real wake-up call. If I find myself wanting to argue with someone, it's like, oh, well, actually,
I don't know either.
No, but I believe I recognize that belief that I'm right and I know the truth, and then I have to step back and go, well, actually, I don't know the truth. All I can do is, I'm going to bring it back to masks again. All I can do with the masks is go with my knowledge from the research that I did over the last 20 years over masks, and going, well, actually, my logic mind says, well, it's not just my logic mind, it's my educated mind says, well, if that works for that and that, and it doesn't work for that, how on earth can it possibly work for that? So my logical mind is, well, it ain't working. It doesn't compute, and it doesn't add up. So instead of being self-righteous and say, I know the answer, I have to accept that some people feel safe with the mask on. Is that wise or not? If someone's feeling safe with the mask on and the masks don't bloody work, that's dangerous. Right? But like my dad said, if you've got a mask on and you're out shopping and it stops you from touching your nose and your mouth and other places because you're unconscious, maybe that's a really good thing.
Right.
I don't know.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? I'm not. I don't know.
I mean, there's
I
so
can't
many
say
things we
I
don't know. We've grown up in the society where a lot we've, you know, from birth or pre-birth, like so many things have been told to us about the way things are. Like, this is the way this is history. This is, you need to go to school and you need to learn these facts, like the, you know, and this teacher, and they're going to tell you about the way to think and the way to act and all these things. And it's just continual, and it's passed down generation to generation. It's just continual, you know. It's like, and now as we're getting, it's intensifying right now, where it's like full on, like every single media channel is saying the same thing, the same story. Like, okay, this is the facts. Here's the numbers. More people are dying. More people are getting tested positive. Like whatever it is, it's like full on. This is the way to think. You need to think this way. It's like,
and I'll tell you what, Phil.
yeah,
It's even scary listening to you talk about that stuff.
yeah, yes, it's freaking us out. Like I'm getting tense. It's like, is that healthy? That's not healthy either. Even having that discussion is not healthy.
Yeah. No, it's like, you know, and I remember when I was at school, Phil, and a teacher was saying to me about oh man, I can't remember now what it was, but they were saying, and I was like, why? Well, because that's just how it is. Well, what do you mean that's just how it is? Well, that's just how it is, and that's what you've got to learn. So you're telling me I've got to learn something that you know nothing about, and I don't understand, but I've got to learn it. Yeah. Well, it's like, well, there ain't much chance of that, is there? Why is that then? Well, because you don't know why you're teaching me what you're teaching me, and I don't get it.
So, I mean, kids come in with that energy. They're always like, why? Why is this? You know, they're asking so many questions.
You know, even back then when I was 8 or 9, it didn't line up. What they were teaching me and what I was trying to learn was just like, well, if you can't tell me why I need to learn it, I'm not going to bother learning it. So, you know, maybe I was a rebel from day one, I don't know. Or maybe it was just I was thick. Who knows what the truth lies there. I didn't get it.
Yeah. I feel really blessed that I got to play in the woods when I was growing up and ride my bike and get covered in mud. Like, I feel so blessed. There's like right there, like I could climb over my back fence and be climbing trees.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, that's the greatest teacher. And I just worry for these generations where they it's like surrounded by concrete, locked in a room, watching video games, which is like even more right now, like totally disconnected from nature, the environment. We're sealed down, we're wearing masks, we're protected, we're scared of everything, for maybe genuine reasons or not, but like we're locked down instead of like this expansive. Like I just remember just playing in the woods, and it was just so just joyful and free, and we didn't have devices back then. Like we're in a good time generation. Like we got to experience that. Like it got to experience that freedom just to run in the woods, trip over and graze our knee and splash in the river.
And lots more as well, lots more accidents and crashes as well. But
oh yeah,
here, right?
I went over the handlebars a few times on my bike, you know. It's like, and it was great. You know?
Yeah, there was always a broken something.
Yeah.
So I think, you know, thinking about the good times, thinking about you know, the fun we had and how great it was. I think we need to start thinking about you know, like I said, maybe it's going to be a bit tough for 18 months, and then hopefully this new energy is going to come in, and this this new age. You know, they've talked about it for decades, haven't they? The new age coming in. So, you know, let's talk about that. Let's talk about, you know, all the great things. Let's talk about the fact that we can have a gold-backed currency that's real. Let's think about the fact that we won't need to have debt. Let's think about the fact that we can pay it forwards, as in I can do a little job for Phil can do a little job for someone else can do a little job for someone else. We don't need instant gratification.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like, order right now and we'll bring it to your door in an hour. It's like,
Yeah,
what?
you know, but it's like the other thing when people talk about bartering is I do this for you and you give me that.
Hmm.
Well, what happens if I do something for you and you haven't got anything I want?
It's okay too, right?
Oh, cool, because my thought is if we're all doing what we love
Hmm.
and we all give it away freely,
Hmm.
it doesn't matter who we give it to,
Right.
because the other person that's giving it away freely
Hmm.
is giving it away freely, and then it goes around.
Right.
So we've got so that's another fear mindset: is if I give that to that, what am I going to get in return?
Right. Well, we've grown up in that, a dependency. We're dependent on the government or a paycheck or something like that. And it's like, well, actually, we're infinite consciousness, infinite awareness. There's like infinite abundance, like around us. Like we could be, creating food forests and gardens and sharing that, or helping each other build a home. Like that's the world I want to step into, like a whole new
Yeah.
world.
Yes, it's like a mate of mine. I needed some welding doing on my van, and he said to me, "Oh, well, my mate's really busy at the minute." So it's another mate of mine. He said, if I go and do that job for him, that'll free him up for that day, and he can do your van for you, Phil."
Hmm.
And I was like, "How does that work?" And he's like, "Well, I do his job, and he does your job, and then that's that." And I was like, "Yeah, but then I haven't contributed." And he's like, "Yeah, but I'll want something at some point or another." And I was like, "Okay, cool, we'll do that then."
Hmm.
So
Because we're
you
attached, like I need something in response to this. I need more, instead of like, oh, I just trust. It's just a
yeah,
total trust. I'll surrender. And we do it a lot. Susan and I do it a lot. We just want to give. We're just like, okay, well, we're blessed right now that we both have jobs and an income in this system. So okay, we're going to help more people. We're going to give to our friends and our family, and we're going to help them out. And if they need something, we'll give to that. And if we see a homeless person, we'll help them. I'll go to these raw food potlucks, and we'll take extra food. We're like, all right, it's a potluck. Let's take tons of food for people and give them like cool chocolates and stuff like that. It's like we want to give. It's just like that giving is just, it's beautiful. It's so uplifting for people.
So someone's just put food, forests, and gardens, Phil.
Exactly.
I just went in to check that out. Where are we? What?
Who was that? It was
Catherine
Catherine.
Bullock. Catherine, do you know Catherine, Phil?
Yes.
Oh, good. Yeah, food forests. I don't know a great deal about food forests and gardens, but yeah, brilliant.
I mean, just think if what we planted trees everywhere, fruit trees all over, gardens, and like if we were like in America, it's like everyone needs a pool. It's like, well, if that mindset shifted and everybody needed a food garden. I mean, I just think of my parents, my mom and dad. They got out of the city and they're in the country, and they picked a little village, and they have a garden, and it's so abundant. Sometimes like they have too many courgettes or zucchinis here in US, and they don't know what to do with them. So they give them out to people, and they don't ask for money in exchange for that. Just they share them. And then their neighbors got too much kale or something, and they give them some kale from their garden. And it's just like trade. And in this community, they're all helping each other. And right now they're going through this time together that's stressful. So my mom helped to set up a scheme where somebody's bringing fresh vegetables to the village and things like that. There's just like this exchange and sharing and interaction. And they have this beautiful garden, and it's nourishing for them. It's nourishing for their neighbors. It's well kept, and it's a labor of love. Like my dad and my mom, they put energy into that garden, into cultivating it and caring for it, and it gives back to them so much. It's like this total exchange and this trade. And that's inspiring to me. It's so inspiring. And another example is I know Susan's daughter Sean. She was watching for a moment. She just started a garden. Through this time, she started a little garden herself, and she's dug up the yard, and she's got some planting boxes. I don't know where she's at with that, but I know she started a beautiful garden. So, and I bet that's happening all over. I bet more people are starting a garden right now.
Yeah, it's like I went to visit I went to see Kay today, and my mum's like, oh, what can we send up? What can we send up? So at the moment, we just got some spare French beans. So I took a bundle of spare French beans for our folks to have.
Mm-hmm.
And, this is just, and then there was someone else had fixed my mum's computer. So we said, how much do we owe you? And they're like, oh, well, they're friends. So I gave them some money. And then my mum said, oh, take them some veggies. So I'm going to take them in some veggies in, because, that's just a great way of doing trade, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And I think you're right, Phil. And when the going gets tough, right, human beings interesting enough come together.
Right.
And lots of this, even though there is quite a lot of separation going on one way or another, there's also a lot of connection going on.
Right. And we don't hear about that. There's like so much connection and so much sharing and so much love going on, and care, like people not in the meet, like people are coming together in whatever way they can. I think I said that to Susan. It's like people are just it's like, all right, well, there's all these rules that are being imposed. Like, what other ways can we connect with people? And we're doing it right now. That's what you and I decided to do. It's like, all right, well, this is going on right now. So how can we connect with each other as brothers and share what we've learned, whether it's raw food or me being in the tree of life, or our knowledge of superfoods and fasting and cleansing and meditation. It's like, all right, well, cool. Let's start sharing this. So we took the opportunity that could have been stressful and said, let's do something with this.
Yeah. And, and for me, Phil, even like today, I think the energies of this weekend, it was July the 4th, right? So if you look at July the 4th, it's the 7th month, and it's the 4th day, which is a number 11, which is a master number. It's like the number of all numbers, number 11. So it's a very powerful day. And also we've got an eclipse. We've got an eclipse. I think it's an eclipse of the moon. That was last night. And there's so much planetary stuff going on. And yesterday and today, I was just, man, I've been wiped out. So wiped out. That's okay. I've managed to do useful stuff.
It's those cycles, and it's honoring those cycles. We're in this world today where it's not like, oh, you're not supposed to be exhausted. You need to keep going. It's like, well, there's cycles. There's natural cycles in our body. There's cycles in the environment. Like you look to nature and it has those cycles. Like sometimes it's winter, autumn. Sometimes the plant's, going back into the earth. Sometimes it's regenerating and growing. Sometimes it's giving fruit. There's all these cycles instead of like, okay, it's 9 to 5 every day for 40 years. It's like, okay, well, maybe there's cycles within that.
Yeah. Also, Phil, as soon as you start to watch the moon, right? The moon, you've got the planet, you've got the seasonal cycles, and in England, we definitely have seasonal cycles. But then also you've got the moon cycles, right? So when you're on full moon, that's the moon for really getting your stuff done and getting on it. And then the new moon, so you've got that expansion of the full moon where you're there on it, and then you've got that contraction of the new moon where it's time to, let's retract, let's contract, let's look in, let's be creative. Oh, the moon's opening up again, so let's open up again.
Mm-hmm.
We forget about that. We're supposed to be doing the same thing, 9 to 5, 5, 6, 7 days a week. That's it. Boom.
Right. And that's
so
the system we want to change.
We're all so exhausted.
Yeah. Yeah, Sean, who I mentioned, she said her garden is growing like crazy. She's getting fresh greens for lunch every day. I'm jealous. It's so cool.
That's amazing, isn't it? That's amazing.
Yeah. So the cycles, just connecting with the cycles, and as you start to eat more fresh food, you start to connect with those. And like you say, it was a full moon here last night. It's this beautiful, beautiful moon.
Yeah, it was. But the energies have just been actually wow.
And I think that's it. And I think as I'm getting this, I'm like, okay, well, what's the gift in all of this? It's like you say, maybe right now we just need to be stepping back and observing and connecting to our heart and sharing that love with everybody around us. Like that's the opportunity we have. Like we can get mad about it all and angry and fighting, or we can go, okay, let's step back. Like what can we create? What's that, like the new world that we want to create? What do we want to envision? How do we want to help people? How are we going to support our family and friends to become healthier and to have a better immune system? How do we support people?
you know, just to kind of come in there as well, Phil, with this whole waking up thing, where, you know, that's also creating massive division at the moment. It's
Mm-hmm.
people that think that they're woken, that they're awoken, and those that are asleep. And
We're,
you know,
we're all being asleep. I don't think anybody's.
I
Yeah.
read something the other day that was really interesting. It's like, how would you feel if you were fast asleep in your bed and someone got hold of your leg and tried to pull you out of it? You'd be really pissed.
Oh yeah. I get that
So
with my
actually,
dog all the time.
so why do we think anyone that unconsciously is sleeping wants to wake up just because we want them to?
And then we're going to shout at them if they don't get our point of view.
Yeah.
Like, okay, does that help them, or do we go, hey, it's time to get up? Do you need anything? You want a glass of water? How can I help you?
Yeah, do you want a juice?
Yeah, how can I love you up right now? Like, yeah, do you want some
Yeah.
juice?
You know, and I think for those of us that consider ourselves to be awake, this is what we've got to remember, is those that are asleep don't necessarily want to, or aren't necessarily ready. It's not necessarily their time to wake up. Maybe it's their job to make us bloody well wake up.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Maybe actually what they're doing is creating the room for us to wake up, to fully wake up and actually show them the way. And when we are fully awake, I'm not sure that I even like that word anymore.
Right. No.
But as we become more conscious and more consciously aware, then we have to hold the space for those guys to wake up or become more conscious. You know, we have to be there and not judge, not attack, not criticize. Ask, you know, and I'm listening to my words. Don't you worry.
I know we're working through it together. We're evolving out loud. So.
You know, I'm listening to what I'm saying. And I've been as guilty as anybody else. But what this process has really taught me what I've learned is that really is people don't necessarily want to wake up. People don't give a shit. They want to eat the McDonald's. They want to take the blue pill. And man, they're happy.
Right. Well, they just don't know anything else. And like, it's our opportunity to start to give other options for people. Because it's not easy either. You start to get on healthy raw food and then you start to detox. So that's a journey in itself. So
Absolutely, you know, and then you know, I've had to deal with the whole skinny thing for years, you know, while I've been experimenting with detox. You know, when I did that last fast that I did, I went down to like 8.5 stone.
What's that in pounds? Do you know?
I'll work it out quick.
All right.
Not much, Phil.
That's pretty skinny, mate.
About 118 to 120 pounds.
Right. But like, are we like, so we say that, right? We say awake, but does that mean the person who's sleeping, like, cause they've probably got things to teach us that we don't know, you know? It's like, maybe we're asleep in certain areas, cause it's like the perspective thing. They might have a perspective. They might be asleep in certain areas, like maybe related to healthy nutrition, but they're awake in another area, like something maybe they can teach us in a different area of life.
Yeah. So
it's like the old elephant thing, right? You know, some people have the tail, some people have an ear, some people have the trunk. It's all a different perspective. And then it's like, we start to realize our oneness. It's like, oh, that person knows about woodworking. That person knows about raw food. That person knows about gardening. Because I think we're also in this world where we're kind of taught to be independent beings, like totally independent. And it's not even codependent. What we're coming towards is like, it's a community and recognizing the gifts that each person has to offer. Like, even if it seems extreme to our point of view, it's like, okay, take a minute. Breathe. Let me listen to what this person has to say. I might not agree with it. It doesn't fit my belief system. Can I listen from my heart and see if there's something I'm missing? See if there's something that they see that I'm not getting. And that's critical in these times, because I feel myself getting mad at people and maybe on the mask thing. But it's like, well, wait a minute. Maybe I'm missing something. Maybe there's something I need to learn from this. Maybe their perspective is important for me to be aware of. Like, there's something for me to learn from that.
Yeah, I think I absolutely feel, and to an extent, you know, what are the people showing us that are asleep, right? The people that are asleep are showing us exactly the parts of us that are asleep. And if we're getting mad at them, we're just getting mad at that aspect of ourselves, because once we really own it, we got to own this and realize that we are the creators
Right.
of our reality.
Anything that we are angry at or mad about or triggered by, that's us. That's inside us.
It's just inside us.
Yeah.
They're aspects that we need to love, that we
Yeah.
need to honor, that we need to accept, that we need to cry over, you know, apologize to, be grateful for, whatever.
Yeah, it's the beautiful prayer of Ho'oponopono. It's like, just, you know, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, thank you. It's like just repeating that, because it's like, that's not like, because it was done in a way to heal other people, but it wasn't healing the other person. It was healing that aspect of you that was broken.
Yeah.
So like, that is critical. And I'm learning a lot from this conversation today, because I'm realizing I have been maybe mad at people or upset or triggered. And it's like, oh, I got to heal myself. I got to feel that pain within me. I got to forgive myself, and I got to repeat that prayer. And it's like, because I think some people, they do they think of that prayer, and it's like, oh, well, I'm doing that prayer because I want to fix somebody else. It's like, no, you're doing that prayer to love yourself more. Like, how do you love yourself so much that it falls away and you're no longer triggered by these things?
Yeah, when I was doing that fast, Phil, I had a really, I think I've spoken about this before. I shall probably speak about it forever until the next massive one. I found an aspect of myself that I'd locked away.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, you know, and I had to say to that aspect of myself, you know what, I'm really sorry.
Mm-hmm.
You know, please forgive me, and I do love you. And actually, I found for the first time ever, I actually felt me telling myself that I love it. I've done the practices, I've done all the practices, you know,
Mm-hmm. but
I love me. And, you know, and I got it. Mm-hmm. I really got it, you know, and I was in bed one night with that little aspect of myself with me. And I said quietly to him, I really love you. Mm. And man, it was like, oh, wow, that's me telling me that I love me. It's like, wow, this is, you know, that's the stuff of healing. Mm-hmm. When you really, really love yourself. And it's like, okay, so that's one aspect that I've been trying to find for the last 25 years. So there's a lot of them. Yeah. And actually, David Icke in the Rose Icke 4 interview was, I'd love David Icke to come on our show, actually, Phil. I'm going to talk about David Icke for a little bit. So David Icke, if ever you get to listen to this, or if anyone knows David Icke personally, I would love him to come on our show and talk about consciousness, because when I listen to Rose Icke 4, I listened to 3 hours of it. I've got the last half an hour I really want to get back to and listen, because David Icke was talking about trauma, and anyone can correct me if I'm wrong. This is just an overview because I need to watch it all again. But he was talking about aspects of ourselves, and basically what happens, he was talking about MK Ultra, actually. Mm-hmm. Oh. Mm-hmm. And if you take this information from the MK Ultra training, so what they did in the MK Ultra was they traumatized the kids so much that the kids could flip that back and become somebody else. Mm-hmm. And then when they were triggered by a word, a feeling, a smell, whatever, that aspect of them, which had been trained, flipped back to become them. Mm-hmm. So they went from, you know, so if you take that MK Ultra mindset and look at that mindset, is your traumatized self, right? So this bit I'm pointing to now, traumatized self, okay? Mm-hmm. So this bit gets traumatized. What we do, and David Icke explained this really, and that was the moment where I thought, okay, I really want David Icke on our show to talk about consciousness, because he's got it nailed, I think.
Mhm.
So what happens is we get this aspect of self that's been traumatized, whether it's a school trauma, parental trauma, accident, whatever the trauma is. And what we do is we flip that back into our mind, and it's safe, right?
Right.
Yeah,
So
right.
it's a protection thing. It's just how the body works. It's like,
Yeah,
it's a tumor or a cyst, like the body will protect it. It's like, okay, this traumatic incident happened. I can't handle it right now. So I'm gonna bury that over there. Right. And that almost, and if it's a really big event, right, it becomes almost a personality in itself. Is that what you're saying?
well, yeah. So what David Icke's then saying is, so this aspect of ourselves that's traumatized, we've locked away, we've encased it, we've encapsulated it.
Mm-hmm.
And in the shamanic world, they call that fragmented self. So then they go and do soul retrievals to fragment aspects of self.
Reintegrate them, right?
To reintegrate them. So what happens is when we get triggered emotionally, spiritually, physically, whatever, we step into that aspect of self.
Right.
So that's why people like with depression can be not depressed. And
right.
then you're chatting away and then they're depressed.
Mm.
Then they're not depressed.
Right.
So I guess that's where they call it. So we are evolving out loud here. So I guess this is where they call it split personality, right?
Mm-hmm.
And someone said to me, they said, oh, but that's just them showing their true colors. No, it isn't. It's them showing an aspect of themselves.
Right.
Because they've been triggered.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it's all happy,
right.
They go back into the, so let's say with me and you, right, you're going to bring an aspect of me to the front. And as it happens, it's a really great aspect that I really enjoy.
Right.
And the same for you. You know, I know when me and you are together, especially when we were at the Stone Circles and stuff, we can bring out that joy. We can bring out that where we just want to journey and have fun and push each other emotionally, spiritually, energetically. We push each other into doing stuff we wouldn't necessarily do, but in a good way.
Right.
In a way to evolve. So then if you're with someone else, they can trigger that miserable bastard.
Right.
They can trigger the depressant. They can trigger, you know, who knows why or what.
Yeah, and we don't, and we end up blaming that person, or we blame that thing, and it's like, really, it's like, it's us. Like, it's a fractured part of ourselves that's been triggered by that.
Yeah. And David Icke talk, like I said, I haven't listened to the other half an hour that I've got to listen to. But I thought to myself when David Icke was talking about it, I thought, wow, I've never heard him talk about this aspect of things before. And actually, do you know what, Phil? It was last Sunday, actually.
Right.
And I'd forgotten because I was watching it with Kay, and her mum and dad, bless them, they watched 3 hours of David Icke with Rose. And I was like, my God, they've done well. But we had to stop it because I was like, guys, I've got to go and do the Phil and Phil show. I'm off. So I'd forgotten actually, and we were going to watch it this afternoon, but we got into other things this afternoon. So I'll go back up and watch it with them because I think it'd be nice to finish that off with them.
Right.
And I was talking about consciousness, and this is what he was talking about. And you know, he was really clear about the traumatized aspects of self and how we deal with it.
Right.
And
so
actually,
we could blame these last 3 or 4 months in all of this stuff that's coming out of people, or we could be like, all right, this is coming to the surface to be processed. And I said that like I said that in 2016 when Trump came onto the scene, and it's like, he's just some dude and he eats crap food and doesn't, you know, whatever. He's like, wah. But what I did observe clearly was all of this crap came to the surface, and I was like, this is so beautiful. Like all of these people who were mean people and bad people and racists or whatever, they all started to come out, which is a good thing because it's like it's bringing to the surface, and that person maybe even never saw it in themselves, and maybe initially they came out mean or angry, and then they're like, oh, wait a minute, this is me, and then it had to come up, it had to bubble to the surface. It's like when we get on a juice fast, that crap's got to come out. We got to clean the colon, the shit's got to come out. So I think that trigger, this time, as intense as it is, it's beautiful because it's all of this stuff is coming to the surface and getting, it's getting its light of day. That shadow is coming up to be faced and for each and every one of us.
Well, I think ultimately, Phil, it's like, especially for us so-called light workers, right? There's what we've got to look at is chasing the light is a very dangerous task, because of course the closer you get to the candle, the bigger the shadow. And what a lot of people are doing is they're actually becoming light workers, so they're chasing the light,
right,
but they're not actually dealing with the shadow. And this, and and I think this is all this darkness that's coming out is generations of suppressed trauma. It's generations of I don't quote the Bible that often, I don't know it, but it said clearly the sins of the father will be visited on the children. Our parents didn't cleanse on any level.
Right.
Their parents didn't cleanse on any level. Their parents didn't cleanse on any level. If you look at Britain, Britain as it was, and the Britons, I mean, the Britons were conquered by the Romans at least 2,500 years ago. So all of our ancient ancestral rituals, like the Native Americans, Phil, I don't know if you know this or not, but I met a woman and she was telling me about some of the Native American tribes. They would do a special process on the battlefield for up to 18 hours before they went back to the village, so they wouldn't take the trauma of the battle back into their village. That's 200 years ago.
Wow.
Ancient Britons, our ancestors, lost that 2,500 years ago.
Wow.
And I was talking to a Druid friend of mine, and he reckons it's probably 5,000 years ago. Whereas Native Americans, the Australian Aborigines, you only talk, the Australian Aborigines, I mean, I don't really know how long that is, but it's probably only 100 years. Ours is thousands of years. So we're dealing with a lot of stagnant pup.
There's so much, in England, there's so much trauma. There's so much trauma that it's like on the English people, and you can feel it. It's probably coming out really intensely right now. I'm not there right now, but I've seen it. You see this very, there's a lot of really amazing English people, and there's also a lot of people that are just really totally closed in the shell, totally locked down, follow the rules, gotta do it this way, because to feel anything is just too much because there's so much trauma. I mean, I think we're the products of rape and pillage for all crying out loud.
Yeah, I mean, look at that was inflicted on the English people by the where's it gone now?
The Saxons or the Vikings? Who knows?
I mean, the Vikings were really into just rape and pillage. So,
oh my God.
Wow. So our history tells us. So I apologize if that isn't true, but our history tells us. We're
getting the gist of it. The gist of we're feeling that. Like my grandfather was a 32nd degree Mason. I didn't even know anything about it. My dad knew something was wrong. My dad's like, I don't want to be part of that. And it's like, my dad was like, no, there's something wrong. He didn't want to be part of that. And so maybe he broke that cycle. And there's actually a prayer, a prayer in the Catholic tradition to release all those energies that the Masons took on. And people go, oh, the Masons, they're cool. But it's like, there's some pretty dark rituals that they do to, each of the levels, they do some crazy rituals. And I read through this Catholic prayer, and it's like releasing all this stuff and releasing our ancestors and releasing my dad and my grandfather and just, and it's just this work we have to do. So
yeah, thanks.
And it's not even about feeling guilty. There's a lot of this thing right now because of the racial stuff going on right now. It's there's guilt and stuff, and it's no, how about we focus on forgiveness? energetically. Like we're focused on this physical thing of reparations and stuff, and it's like, oh, well, isn't it, there's maybe another level there of like forgiveness and love and supporting each other and taking it to another level inside, you know?
Yeah, you know, and that's, you know, let's talk briefly about healing modalities then.
Okay.
There's a great, I don't know this, but a friend, and I'd love to learn it. It's a native, it's what the Native Americans used to use on the battlefield to release the trauma from each other.
Mm-hmm. Tell us about that.
Only shown briefly by this lady, and I said, well, where can I learn this stuff? And she said, well, I'm not teaching it anymore. And it's like, that's it. That's the end of that. But I'd love to learn that. I don't know what Native American tradition it was. Maybe I can get in touch with her and ask her a bit more. So the other ones is, you know, shamanic soul retrieval is great. Some of the disciplines like I do, which is EFT and matrix re-imprinting and colored mirrors, is really great. Mm-hmm. I know, Phil, you were getting into, especially on the first episode we did, on the tuning forks. And we were, and I think the second one was called tuning the human biofield.
They come with me. They're always here.
Brilliant. So do you go and have that, the tuning fork therapy field? Do you have that face to face, or have you had it face to face?
Right now, I'm just doing it on my own. I just got the kit,
okay,
but I haven't actually done it. So I haven't gone to a session. Well, that's actually not true. So I do have a therapist who does use tuning forks during. So he does a different energetic therapy with electrostimulation and some massage, and he uses some tuning forks during that therapy. So yeah, for sure, I've had it done, and it feels really good. And it's just any like type of sound therapy. I've done a therapy where they play Tibetan bells or crystal bowls during the therapy, and just resonating us at that higher frequency and releasing the energy. I did this, what did I do? I did a psoas release yoga, which was pretty amazing. I don't know if you've ever done that.
No.
So the psoas, this muscle like down, you know, in the thighs here,
yeah.
We hold a lot of tension there. And you do this therapy, this thing where you're kind of holding your legs at a certain angle. You do a lot of prep for it, like yoga before it, and then you hold them at a certain angle and they start to vibrate.
I've done that, yeah.
You've done it, and it starts to vibrate, and it's
it.
like it releases all this tension. I think about an animal, a wild animal, they get stressed. I mean, I saw my dogs, like my dog's upset about something. They shake it out. Yeah. They just shake it out, you know, it's like releasing that tension.
You know, and I think this is what we've got to remember. This is what we've got to encourage each other to do. You know, I've been doing just a little bit of yoga every day, not long, 5 or 10 minutes, because for me to do an hour and a half, I've got no real training in it. I've got no clue. So for me, I just do dog head down. I do the plank, dog head up, dog head down, and I just do that until I can't do it anymore.
Right.
That's really useful, you know, for me. So we just have to really encourage each other, go for a walk, jump on a trampoline, drink a juice. First thing in the morning when you get up, squeeze a lemon into some warm body temperature water, drink it down. A lime, you know, do 2 pints of orange juice and lime or lemon and ginger in the morning, flush your system through.
Right.
Get your lymphatic system moving, jump on the trampoline. Phil.
That citrus juice and water is a practice I've done for a long time, like 10 years or something. It's like every day, the first thing I do is I get my quart of water or pint, maybe it's a pint, maybe what's a pint, maybe 2 pints of water or a quart, like every day. It's like first thing I do, drink my citrus water. That's critical because it's just flushing out the body. It's flushing it out.
So what I just sprayed then, Phil, as we're on we're creating this group. This is from the Coloured Mirrors system, and this is called Ruby Red. And Ruby Red is all about your clan, and it's a beautiful.
That's pretty nice.
See that there. So yeah, so this is about creating clan, finding family, you know, be in one. So I'm just going to breathe it in and then take that through my field. If you're, you know, if you're really with me on this, and you're really sat there with me on this, and you go, just take a deep breath in, let it out. Right, I'm going to spray. Really pay attention and feel this. I'm going to breathe it in for us all. I'm going to put that through our field, through my field, through your field, through our clan field, through the field of our tribe. This is about finding our tribe. If our tribe fits for you guys, great. Hang in there, hang out with us, let us grow our tribe. And if it doesn't, great. Go find your own tribe. That's cool. And keep breathing. So the next one I'm going to spray is Air Dragon. Air Dragon, let's clear the air. Let's call upon those elementals of dragon in. Oh, let's take a deep breath in with the essence. Oh. Woo! I needed that. That was strong, man. Oh. I love it. When I do energy work, I've got this little tribe of air dragons that I call in, and they're brilliant because they really guide me very clearly, and they give me different tools to use when I'm doing healing work. Nice. You know, and they're amazing. One of the things that I learned with the coloured mirrors work, with using these sprays, is when we really, really need them, it's unbelievable how they burn down the nose and down through just burn, and my eyes water. And either when I don't need them, or when I'm really blocked, they smell of nothing. And the first time someone ever smells them and it blows their head off, they go, oh, it's just the alcohol. Well, if it was just the alcohol, why doesn't it do it every single time? And that's what I love about these essences. You know, how I resonate them and work with them is like that one, the ruby red. Mm-hmm. I'll do it again. The ruby red was, as you can see, hardly smell it, right? And I think, Phil, that's because I'm with my tribe, right? Mm-hmm. So hi, tribe family. I feel really blessed, really honoured that you're spending the time and tuning in with us. This has been a dream of mine for a long, long time. And to get to hang out with my brother Phil every Sunday now is such an honour and a blessing. And to share this sacred space that we create with you guys, I feel really blessed and honoured. So I'd just like to take just a second to thank you and really honour you for being part of our tribe. You know, and I love you all, because you're all my brothers and sisters, and I really mean that. And I'm really grateful for Phil for bringing out that, you know, showing me that fun and that joy and that love and that openness and that innocence that's within me. I love it. So thank you. So the next one is
I just to sort of jump on that. Love it. I loved watching you today, Phil, and watching you you're really in your heart today. And right at the beginning, I was just like, wow, he's so joyful today. And I just noticed that right at the start. And maybe that's part of the cycle, because yesterday you were feeling all this cleansing, and then today it's just like, oh, he's really present right now. He's really present in this moment. And that's an honor to be with you too. So thank you.
Well, I feel like I really struggled before. Before I came on the show, I was like, man, I wish I could just go to bed. I wish I could just curl up, because I was so tired. You know, and this works amazing. So this one is Air Dragon, right? So let's see what it does this time. Not quite as powerful as the first time, but still. What I'm going to try and do one day, guys, if my friend Melissa Jolie ever gets to listen to this, she created Coloured Mirrors. I'm gonna write to Melissa Jolie and ask if she'll come on our show, because I love the work she's done, and I would really love her to share, just to share her. Actually, she doesn't need to share the system with you. She just needs to share her, because she is such an amazing being, such a beautiful lady. So after this show, I will write to her and see if she'll come on. So I've got a bit of work to do. David Icke and Melissa Jolie.
And talking about, so we're kind of coming to the end of this show, I think.
I was just gonna jump on that one, Phil. So you go for it.
So just an exciting announcement is Gabriel Cousins, who both Phil and I have worked with, wants to be on our show. And he wants to talk about, I think probably the title, I think what's coming through is going to be natural immunity. It has to be. So yeah, so he's going to come on our show next Sunday, and I'm going to promote that starting today. Yeah, I'm just really excited about that. So,
well, Phil, I feel really blessed and honoured, because actually, Gabriel's like PA actually wrote to Phil and said, "Hey, can Gabriel come on your show?" And it's just like, whoa, how amazing is that? You know, we're so honoured to have such a knowledgeable, amazing person as Gabriel Cousins asked to come on our show. I mean, that's just a real honor, isn't it, Phil?
Pretty amazing. Yeah. So let's just, do you want to just tune in for a little closing meditation, or anything else you'd like to say?
No, I think at this moment in time, Phil, I feel complete. I was going to say done, but done isn't the right word. I feel complete. And as a friend of mine would say, I feel replete. Shall I try the drum, Phil, gently?
Yeah, let's try it again. Let's see, because we didn't try it after we turned that microphone adjustment thing off. I know it's off, because once it's in your program, it's set. I just checked mine.
Okay, I'm just going to go audio settings. Yeah, mine's off as well, Phil. So we'll do that. I'll get the drum. Might be a bit flax. It depends on the weather. If it's a bit. Sorry, guys.
Oh, that's so much better. That's nice.
You hear that, Phil?
I can hear it now.
I've got to put my foot on something because something's rattling. Got it. It's such a deep drum.
Mm-hmm. It needs to warm up a little bit, huh?
Can you hear that now, Phil?
Oh, there we go. It's coming in and out. I just Zoom does not like the sound of the drum.
How's that?
It goes, it hits and then it goes flat. It just like stops for some reason.
Oh, well, that's one thing we can't do then. We can't drum. That's fine.
We'll figure something out. So, but anyway, so just talking about the healing aspect, just going to go into a little meditation, if that's good with you, Phil.
Yeah, cool.
And I think today was just beautiful for me. I just really explored that we're starting to explore that shadow side of ourselves and feeling that energy within us so that we can transform it. And let's just take a moment, just tap into our breath. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the nose, slowing it down. Close your eyes. Corners of your mouth, little smile. Just connecting to the heart. Any feelings that maybe, less than excellent, just feel them. Send them love. Any aspects of yourself that need love right now, tap into that spark of love within you. It's in each and every one of you. Slowing down the breath, coming right into this present moment. Expand that love out into your whole body, into the space around you, to your family, your friends, your community, your tribe. And as you connect to others in this frequency, in this vibration, you recognize the pure soul in each and every one around you. And you bring out more of that light, that love in others as you heal yourself, as you take care of yourself, eating healthily, connecting to nature, connecting to the earth, and envisioning a new world where we share and connect and share food with our neighbors and our friends, grow gardens, plant trees, place our feet bare upon the earth, jump in mountain springs, drinking spring water. A world where the nature is abundant and vibrant and bright and beautiful. Where fresh, whole, natural food is available to each and every one of us. Where each person is fed and nourished at a deep level, spiritually, physically, psychologically, socially. Where people are hugging each other, loving each other, and seeing each other for who they truly are. Sending that love around this earth right now to all the countries, all the people, the animals, nature, the rock people, the winged ones, the crawling ones. In total gratitude. The greatest prayer is gratitude. Gratitude for our visions, for our dreams, before they've even happened. Breathing deep into this moment, giving thanks for this moment. Bringing all that good energy, all those good memories and feelings back into this moment, into our heart right now, placing our hand upon our heart. All the good feelings. So opening up our eyes, coming back to this present moment. So it is. Aho.
Oh,
All right. Well, thank you for everybody for joining us. And we'll see you next week. From Phil.
See you next week. And from Phil. It's a good night from me.
Oh, I stopped it. Sorry. It's still recording here, but I stopped the stream.